Super Gremlins book club right now. We're third meeting with this really good book. Every time I read a new chapter here, I'm just blown away by the things that I learned. So, Anthony, start us off, man, with chapter 9.
We're heavily influenced in terms of our habits by the people that are close to us, as well as like the tribe or like the group that we're a part of, as well as like very high status people. Obviously, I think that's very true.
I guess a really important topic they brought up in this chapter is culture. How important culture is, and that family established a culture very early on with these three girls of chess, and like that was their world. Same thing with LeVar Ball. That was the culture. I'm not even sure if his last name is really Ball or he made it Ball, but like that's the level of intensity that like which he like spoke into existence, and it talks about
the last name Ball,
right? It talks about here in this chapter to make sure you join a culture where the behavior you desire is the normal behavior already, and that you already have something in common with the group. So actually, I was thinking about our group, Super Gremlins Book Club here, and I think we're all trying to learn and grow. So that's why we have this group.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to the tribe. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I thought about too is like they say that you should join a group of people whose habits that you like highly desire.
Mm-hmm.
That's like I think something that like I want to do more, expand more into like, let's say if a habit was like poker or whatever, I'd want to join like a poker group. I think probably
like a niche.
Yeah, like a group of people who have like a habit.
Yeah,
that's like I want to have.
What did you guys think of like the conforming the social norms and like the example they gave about how people would rather be wrong and join the group than be correct?
That was pretty interesting. They mentioned an experiment, right, where I guess they're in a classroom and they have all these actors who tell the person the wrong answer, even though they know what the right answer is. It's just the power of influence in the room. I think there's a lot of truth to it.
Have you ever felt like that pressure before to like side with the norm instead of like sticking to your own?
I can think of Rolling Loud.
Like wearing the sweaters or what?
That's a good example too. I wonder if I didn't want to drop $80 in a sweater I didn't like.
yeah, that's why I got that black sweater, bro. I was so drunk, I didn't give a fuck, dude.
And I wasn't even that cool at the moment. And then I told the group that I wasn't down, and the group shunned me. And the group said buy a sweater, so I consorted to conform to the group.
All right. And y'all got the same sweater,
right? I still wear that sweater though.
I still wear mine too.
I haven't worn mine. The motivation ritual. I told Anthony something one time. That just one day we all went out. I think it was me, you, and Salo, Anthony. That entire day, I was listening to music that was hyping me up the whole day. Like whether it was like rap or hip hop, I was on a very gremlin vibe. I think somehow it manifested itself where I had more success in conversations with speaking to girls. And this motivation ritual talks about doing things similar to that, where you're doing something to cause something else to happen, or you do something that links it to the behavior you want to have.
Yeah.
And it made me think of that. So for me, that motivation ritual before we go out is going to be listening to the type of music that makes me feel good and energized and powerful.
I think for that one too, some people, they say like smell a certain scent before you study, and then right before a test you smell that certain scent, and it should like trigger all the stuff you studied.
No, I think so, because it's like how you feel, right?
Yeah.
And then you associate how you feel with the habit that you want to do. I think that chapter was like what I got off from it. Like aside from that too, was that we all like have these desires. When you have a habit that tries to address that habit, it's all about like how you frame that habit and like what type of response you have with it. Like in that smoking example, it's like, oh, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
But what is the habit that you do for stress. And you're like, oh, smoking, right? But if you frame it as in like stress, like if I'm gonna smoke, that's a bad habit. Like probably better if I work out. And then like when you think through that, you're gonna have like a negative association like with smoking. So it gets easier to like drop that bad habit.
So how to reprogram your brain to enjoy the hard habits? Just changing one word. You don't have to you get to. Like he gives you a story about like the guy in the wheelchair, and they asked him if it was difficult being confined. Like I'm not confined to my wheelchair. I'm liberated by it. If it wasn't for my wheelchair, I would be bedbound and never be able to leave my house.
Deep.
But I mean, like, no, that is true. Like, you shift your mindset. But you have to be like consistent. Like,
yeah. If you hate waking up in the morning, like you have to wake up early for work instead of saying like you get to wake up early for work.
Yeah.
That changes like the entire perspective of things.
On Sunday morning, we should all be like, we get to wake up early.
Damn, I get to feel like shit. I get to feel all tired, yeah. And unfocused. This chapter, like I would say, is like my favorite chapter, just because it's about just like repetition. That's like one thing that like I've really realized. It's not about like being like a genius, you know. It's about how many times are you able to like repeat something without, you know, getting angry, flustered, and giving up. Because eventually, over time, if you repeat something enough, you're gonna get good at it.
Yeah.
It's like a core identity for me.
I feel the same way. The chapter starts off with the example where the teacher put half the class in the quantity group. Whoever takes the most photos gets a better grade. And the quality group, who takes just one photo but the best photo gets a good grade. I was surprised when the quantity group had better photos. I actually thought the quality group was going to have the better photo. And he talked about what Anthony just said, repetition, and how important it is to just get in there and get the reps in and not just sit there and overthink every rep you take. And that's why this chapter for me was one of my favorite chapters as well, because I tend to overthink things sometimes. You know, it's called like analysis paralysis, where, you know, I'm planning a lot, but I'm not doing the actual action. And they refer to motion versus action. The motion is the planning, the, you know, getting it all charted out how you want it to look, and the action is actually doing it. And he mentioned that we're so focused on figuring out the best approach, we never actually take the action. And that's what happens to me. And I was just like, you know.
I think that's interesting too, though, like the analysis paralysis, like trying to make everything so perfect before you know, you do it. Because like not everything's going to be perfect. Like you can plan as much, but when you actually happen, it's never like how you envision it. So you might as well just take the leap. Just like do it.
So we talked about like the real estate stuff and starting a business, and that's why that chapter hit me hard, because all the real estate stuff, all I gotta do is sign up for a class and take the class and get the license. But I'm like, oh, I want to find the best class, I want to find the best teacher, I want to find the best program, and through that analysis paralysis, I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, you just gotta do it, man. Like, fuck the best class. Just pick a good class.
Yeah, this book is fucking me up, man.
Right.
I think for this one, like takeaways that I think like I already did was that like I moved YouTube and Instagram. I removed them off like my homepage. I didn't delete them. I just removed them off my homepage because I want to make it difficult for me to do that habit. Yeah. Because in that chapter, it says, if you make we all want the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So if a habit's very easy for you to do, you're going to do it. But if you make it like very hard for yourself to do that habit, you're less likely to do it. Which is like true. Which is like, I think that's something that like you can implement, like, right? That's something that you can all implement right now.
Right.
Maybe like, you know, moving the app, taking the batteries out of the remote, giving someone else your phone when you want to be productive, putting it in a different room,
Yeah, they even went to like the extreme of like putting the TV into another room.
Yeah.
Like
I
no
like
one
that
wants to do
though.
that work.
Yeah, I like that though. Like
Yeah,
like that example is good. Because I know like if I did that shit, I probably wouldn't watch TV
exactly.
that much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they brought it back to the environment stuff and how you shape your environment. And he talked about even like on your daily commute from work, if your gym is on the same path, the same route, you're more likely to go to the gym versus if it's like off the fucking path, you're less likely. And I was going to a gym all the way in Vista. It was 24 hours. And
Wow.
oftentimes, like if I didn't go, it's because it was super late, and I'm like, oh man, it's far as fuck, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't go. So now I have a gym around the corner that's like a minute from my house, and I still don't go. I'm just kidding. No, I go more often, but it's a lot more convenient because it can be super late, and I'm like, yo, I'm there in a minute, and I'm back in a minute, you know, versus 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, and now I'm thinking about how much shit I'm gonna get and all that.
30 minutes? That's a long time to get to.
Yeah, dude, that was a drive when I was going to this. That was during COVID when everything was closed up.
That sounds like a barrier. Like you're making it harder to go to the gym.
But during COVID though, there was no gyms open. That's the only reason why I did that.
What are like some things like, I guess examples like Richie for you that like you could make more harder? Like some habits that you have already that you can make it harder for you to develop habits.
I know for me, like similar to Anthony's, like if I go on Reddit, I'll just delete the app because that's literally the only way for me to like. I can't even move them to the back because I'll just go to them.
For real?
Yeah.
Shit. I deleted Uber Eats. I didn't even hide it. I just deleted it.
That's good. Yeah.
I deleted it and like I haven't used it in like a week.